All right, so yeah, welcome. We've recently just changed and modified the version, the way we're going to present this. It was previously called HubSpot Pro Connect, rebranded to Tech Talks and joint with Nat doing, a guide to HubSpot and AI fortnightly sessions. One fortnight focused on HubSpot. The second fortnight will be focused on AI. The idea of the sessions will be we'll go through, we'll do a little presentation, and then we'll be open for questions about HubSpot, AI, and any tech-related things that we want to go along with. So, Nat, did you want to quickly introduce yourself? I know you just did it then, but we'll get it for the recording.
Yeah, absolutely. So my name's Nat Coco, stands for Keep On Keeping On, and I started a product or business called Content Volcano to solve the common problems that people are having with content production, in particular with AI, which was sounding inauthentic to their brand voice. So I wanted to build a solution that remove this problem for business owners in particular, to help them focus on their internal and external communications rather than relying on the generic AI generated content. So we're able to now emulate content through AI to look and sound exactly like the person using it. And that's the problem we're here to solve, in addition to other AI custom solutions that we have.
Awesome. And I think those who are using HubSpot already have seen, number one, the amount that HubSpot is leaning into AI as well. Pretty much every feature has a little sprinkle of AI through it. So, a lot of the stuff Nat does, with that on the outside will also be quite relevant to the stuff, as HubSpot keeps growing with AI. So yeah, exciting stuff. And welcome, Natasha, good to see
you. Sorry, on mute. Hi, everyone. How are you?
Good. All right, so Tech Talks, we covered this before. HubSpot, AI, tech and integrations, website, CMS. So a range of different areas that we'll try and go through. Obviously, not just related to HubSpot, we'll be talking about stuff outside of HubSpot as well, to do with the AI space. Today, I was going to do a presentation, which I think is one of the most important things in HubSpot. And anyone that has gone through onboarding, with me has done this, but there are some small little changes, and I think it is a good refresher. And I suppose for those people here who are using HubSpot, like, how often are you looking at your reports? Are you looking at your reports daily, weekly? Are you still needing to modify them? What's sort of your interaction with the reporting function within HubSpot? Natasha or Jenna?
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, I didn't realize there was a question.
Jenna, you go.
Question is, are you checking your reports quite regularly in HubSpot?
Absolutely. Yeah,
Nice.
I'm looking at them, if not daily, every second day for sure.
Perfect. Gold star for Jenna. She's obviously just gone through onboarding. We trust the process, so that's why. No jokes. Natasha, I know you've been using HubSpot for quite a while.
Yes, I have been using HubSpot for quite a while, and no, we need to be better at it. Definitely need to be better at it. But actually, you've just added Camille to the call, who's our new marketing manager, who's just come on with us full time, and so she's has a bit of HubSpot experience as well. So between the two of us, we're going to create a new marketing plan, and really nut out how we need to better use HubSpot. And yeah, one of my questions today was going to be how we can use the AI features to segment our lists, because we have 6,000 customer database there. Yeah, so that's something that we look forward to learning a bit more about.
Yeah, cool. We'll we can come to that at the end and have a little look. We'll get Apple and Nick up just to have a quick look into that as well, just to make sure we get all the information that we need. Oops, I don't want to do it like that. So what we're going to go to today, I'll jump into a demo, but HubSpot reporting tips and tricks. The first thing, and Natasha sort of ties into what we spoke about, the main thing about reporting is about effective data management and making sure that we have controls in place to be able to get that data. And that's also the case for segmentation as well. A lot of the time, we might not need AI to segment, we just need the data there. And then we can just use filters to be able to make sure we're attracting and speaking to the right person. And so that goes into controlling your data, and there's a range of different ways we can control the data, within HubSpot. Looking at HubSpot pre-built reports, for those who have had a fairly good play around with HubSpot, it's not just the dashboard and reporting sections where you get to report on data. Pretty much every single section in HubSpot will show you an analyze tab, and that analyze tab basically will give you all the information that you need about that specific. We'll then obviously talk about dashboards. We'll look at building a basic report, just for those who maybe aren't sure about it. We'll talk about customizing those reports, and then we'll be looking at leveraging HubSpot's new AI tool, which is pretty cool. Again, like what I've found personally, if you don't have your data correct and you ask it to do something, it doesn't work, and you need to modify it yourself anyway. But if you've got your data right, you can get it to do some basic things to start with. I think with anything with AI at the moment, it is quite new, it is quite raw, but it's exciting with how it's tracking. So what we'll do is jump into some other screens and sort of having a look around in different areas. So I suppose, oops, I'll share my screen. So we're not going to start in the reporting section, funnily enough. And the reason why we don't start in the reporting section when it comes to reports is because the key thing is we need to manage data, and we need to make sure that we have our data in place. Now, HubSpot will draw reports from a couple of different areas within contacts and within deals. And those areas are from the properties or the fields on the left-hand side that are here, and then also from the activities in the middle, like notes, emails, calls, tasks. Can also report on associations, but the key thing is if we want to report on something, we need to have a property for it. And so we can't just think that, oh, cool, I'm going to report on that, HubSpot's going to magically do it. We need to make sure we're grabbing that data. And I think one thing that we need to do when we grab that data is to make sure people are actually inputting it. And there's a couple of ways that we can really control that and manage that. Number one, through forms on your website, for example. A really common one is, how did you hear about us? When you come in, there might be a couple little questions. How did you hear about us? You can then report on that because you've got that data and people are filling it out. The other way to manage and control it is through what we call required fields or conditional fields. I move deal into a new stage. It asks preset questions that we then have to answer so that we get that data into HubSpot. These are all required. If I don't do it, it pops back. But then what it means is I can report on these things. So, we can use also playbooks as well to make sure we get that data. But it is key that when we are looking at things, we first need to have a source that we're getting it. And then also to make sure that people are inputting the data into it. If they're not, then, the report's going to come up and it's not going to really give you, what we need. So that's like really sort of down and dirty about controlling data. As we move through, like obviously within HubSpot, we've got our reporting section, dashboards, reports, but this is just sort of the tip of where we actually get to look at reporting. Throughout most features, you'll be able to get data analytics, and especially within the marketing hub. As you can see, in all marketing assets, they generally have an analyze tab. And these are pre-built reports that give you the data that you require to look at. So it's not just within dashboards and reports where you can get your data and when you can look at it, but it's also, within pretty much every section of HubSpot. You'll notice within the deal section, we've got insights. Within all the social media sections, within ads, within emails, and we did a session on emails last month, they've got an analyze tab that gives you that data and allows you to track and manage everything. So I suppose when you think about it, you obviously need to look at number one, what bits of data are important to you, because there can be an overwhelming amount of reporting and data within HubSpot. But it is good to know that you do have a lot of options as well. And one of the good things is you can come down, we can save these reports and we can insert them into dashboards so that they're actually placed into a central location where you can clearly and easily look at your data. All right, so as we go down, we're going to jump into the dashboard section. So I'm sure most people have utilized dashboards, utilized these sections before. Like I said, in my opinion, this should be something as a minimum you should be looking at, weekly. And something we actually do as a business, we do our weekly sync meeting through HubSpot. So what I mean by that is we have a weekly sync, and basically we have a marketing section, which is HubSpot reports. We've then got an operational section or a sales section, an operational section, and we go all the way through, and it's briefed off HubSpot. So number one, that forces people to keep data accurate because they're briefing on it and it's expected. And then number two, it keeps us looking at the reports, and it allows us to analyze real-time data and see, all right, we've won this many deals, we've attracted these many new contacts this week. A really easy way to make sure data is correct in HubSpot, but then also to make sure that you're using HubSpot. So within the dashboard section, you've got a range of different features, but basically a dashboard is just made up of reports. So in some of those analyze tabs, when you save that report, you can save it to a dashboard. Within this, you've got the ability, depending on your subscription, to make a range of different dashboards and customize them. If you're on a starter HubSpot pack, you can't customize reports, but you can still use templated reports within HubSpot. If you're on Pro or above, that's when you can go in and customize and use further. Within these sections, as you can see here, we've got a range of different dashboards. What I'll highlight for those who maybe are a bit unsure how to start or, where to get started. If you do come and create a dashboard, there are a range of different templates in HubSpot. And this is another thing that HubSpot is really good at. Pretty much every aspect of HubSpot will have templates that you can utilize. So as you see here, we go down, we've got a range of different dashboards, and they outline quite clearly, 10 reports that offer a range of different features. If I highlight on that, it gives me the actual reports. Now, you can use this as a base if you're not happy with the way dashboards are currently set up, or you want to add in additional ones, because you can then customize those reports and go further into that. For those who've been set up by us previously, we use a mix of some of these dashboards and then customize them further to suit what you guys need. Similarly, with the dashboard templates, there's also about 200 report templates as well that you can utilize. So if I want to come in and go create report, what this will do, it'll open up a range of different options. Now, at the top, 236. So that's increased. The last time I saw it, it was under 200 before. So again, HubSpot's always adding stuff. They are sometimes taking things away as well, depending on what they think works best. All right, so different types of reports in HubSpot. Again, a lot of different types of reports that you can utilize. Single object report. So in HubSpot, an object is how you manage data. An object is a deal, an object is a contact, an object is a company, an object is a ticket, etc. So these are single object reports. So that means, all right, I want to report on how many deals I've won. That means I will be able to go and do that and report on the deals that I've won, because I'm not reporting on contacts. Custom report builder, that then allows us to start adding in multiple objects and having cross-object reports and get a little bit complicated. I'm not going to really go into these today because that's probably a whole nother session. I'm just going to really focus on the single object and the AI generated. We've got attributed and funnels as well that we can play around with, and customer journey reports, which is an enterprise feature. On this side, you first want to understand what you're trying to achieve and where you're trying to achieve it, because what you can do is you can come in, and if you're looking for something but you're not sure what it is, you can go down by the object So, you know, I want to report on deals. And what that'll do is it filters out all the deal reports, which is 48, and I can just scroll through and, you know, have a look at a range of different deal reports and see which ones I like, see which ones I think might be relevant to what I want to achieve. Once we find one, we can click on it. We can edit and manage and change it how we want, or we can simply save it or customize further. And I'll go into how to actually customize these reports in a second. Now, the good thing about these reports, again, once they're saved in the dashboard, you'll be able to click into the data. And you'll be able to track and see, you know, the actual numbers around what's in those reports as well. And if you need to, you can click into that deal and open that deal up and move into that deal. So again, a lot of flexibility around, you know, managing these different data points, a lot of options around what you can do if you're unsure how to start. In terms of, what we're going to jump to next is how to actually create one of these reports. So I'm going to just do a single object report to start with, just to keep it, you know, nice and simple. So I've clicked single object. I'm not going to do AI, I'll come back and do AI afterwards. So the data source is basically the object or where we're getting the information from. So we might go into contacts and we'll just do a simple contact report. Now, the way it works with reports is in the first instance, we set them up via a property or a data source. Now, these are what we're going to be measuring within the report. We then have the ability to change the visualization of the report in terms of what type of graph or columns or layout we want it to appear in. And then from there, we've got the ability to filter out the things we don't want. So that'll allow us to track, you know, a range of different things. So in the first instance, we've got create date, we've got life cycle stage. If there's any additional properties that we'd like to add in, we can simply add them in. Or alternatively, if we're happy that they're the properties that we want, then we can move forward. The one thing I would note is the properties that appear here, they don't just, if you don't use them in the actual report, when we click on the data later and it opens it up, it'll give you those columns. So it'll show that there additionally, so that you have it, you know, nice and simply. All right, just noticed that I didn't have the disappearing ink on, so I'm just trying to get my eraser out to get rid of these little fellas. And I'll go back to disappearing ink. So once you're happy that you've got this set up, you can go next. And what I'm trying to create here is just to see how many contacts we've created, you know, over a period of time. So what we can do, we've got counter contacts, create date. And I can see here that what we've got is a bit of a mess so far. So I might just change the view up the top so I can see it. And at the moment, the frequency is daily, and that's probably a bit too much because it just makes the data look a bit crazy. So I'm going to change it to weekly. And then what this does is, though, this isn't the period that I actually want to report on. So then what I need to change is I go to my filters. And within my filters, quarter so far. So I might just want to change that to be, instead of the quarter so far, this month. And then update that filter. I might now want to change this report to be, rather than just contacts created, I might want to see how many customers we've got this month. And so I'm going to add in a filter. The life cycle stage. Getting a customer. And apply filter. So now I can see how many customers that we've had come through this year. I can go back to hide filters. And like I said before, we've got create date, counter contact, When I click there, we've got the life cycle stage as well, because that's a data point. So if I want to add in another bit of information that I can click on and view really easily, you see associated deals, number of associated deals. Now that appears there. I'm not reporting on it, but what it does do, it appears in the report detail summary. So again, it just allows me to see information really quickly and at a glance, whenever I want. If, for example, I didn't have create date and I had, perhaps life cycle stage, and I cleared the filter, you'll notice that I don't have the option to track this by a time frame and appear, in a frequency. It's still tracked for this month, but it's done overall. The reason for that is you need to have a date property within the displaying field, and that will allow the frequency to pop up. So if you are trying to see, as an example, how many deals you've won per week or per month or whatever it is, you just need to make sure that there's some type of date field in here, because that will allow this frequency to pop up in there, and then you can report on it that way. Again, with the frequency, we'll change that to monthly and go to weekly, and we can see lead opportunities, customers, other for lifecycle stage over this period. Now, when I'm done, I can change the name. I can hit save. And again, as we can see here, we've got AI assisting us with the description. Now, again, doesn't seem like a big thing. And to be completely honest, previously, I wouldn't fill that out. But I just find having that description there with AI does make such a big difference. It does this for things like reports, for workflows, for a few other things, and it really assists, because then when you are looking back on things, you can see the exact reason for it. And as we read through here, that report, the description is pretty spot on for how it's worded. So I'll give him a little smiley face to say that was good work. Now I can add this to a dashboard. So I'm just going to add it to the CRM dashboard. I'm going to go to my dashboard. And I'll scroll down. So once you have your reports within here, open this up. And what I can do is, again, I can come in, I can go, all right, I've got all the opportunities here. I can see the list of opportunities. I can even unfilter by unclicking these to make the report a bit more simple. If I want to, I've got the option to come view and filter. Now, this first page allows us to view and to manage the filters that we have set without going in and fully customizing the report. Why this is handy is because I can just come here and go, all right, we know what this month, I want to change it to the quarter. This quarter. This quarter. This year. This year will do, whatever it is. And I can change the frequency as well. So I can see this data, and I can edit it, and I can update the existing report. If I want to go in and add in additional data sources, for example, I might want to see additional fields in here, or I might need to change what we're measuring. I can come in, I can go back into customize, and it'll take me back into the same page we were before. Now, so yeah, that's how we create really simple reports within HubSpot for single objects. Now, like I said, you can get really difficult with custom, custom and cross-object reports, but we might touch on that at a later stage, just because, like I said, that can be a bit complicated, and it'll probably take a whole session to go over that. But in terms of basic reports, you can create that with contacts, with deals. It's just, making sure that we have the data. This is a good example. There will be some where it'll be, no data or unassigned, or something that will show that you don't have those fields done. You then use filters to go through and manually update them. All right, so from there, we're going to go back in and we're going to have a look at the AI feature, which again is really cool. Pretty much what I did just then. We'll go in and we'll get that to do it. Obviously, it didn't take me that long to create that report, but obviously I know how to create these reports really easily. The first thing when you are looking at starting with this, you need to make sure you're really firm on what you want to report on. The more vague you are, just like with any prompt, the more vague you are, the less likely it is of giving something that you want. So if I wanted to come in, I'd just simply create a report on how many contacts have been created per month last year. Just generate the report. So the great thing about this is it just did what took me, I'm obviously pretty good at it, and it took me maybe a couple minutes to get that report sorted. For someone who, doesn't really understand reporting, could probably take 5 minutes. So maybe it would take 5 minutes, just took 5 seconds. Now, with anything, if you create a social media post, you don't just accept it and post it, you edit it. So you do the similar thing here. You have a little review of what you've got, and you go, all right, yep, this is perfect. This is what I want. Or it might be time to customize. So you've got reports are correct, reports are incorrect. So again, I'll just discard that one, and I'll go back in. You've also got the ability, I'm not sure what to write, try these examples. So you've also got the ability here to use some prompts, which will do the work for you. How many deals did we create this quarter? How many contacts were added in Q3 by country? This is a good example because I know personally we've got country field for some things, and we don't have it for everything. We have probably a lapse. So you can see here, contacts created because we track all of our Philippine staff. I'm just going to go to a different bar. So we can see here that, because we've got so many countries, this report doesn't really allow me to do a lot. So I might want to go in and filter out, some of these lower looking countries. Again, we come in, look at another report, closing the most tickets. How many deals did we create this quarter? Again, we know that data is there. So this would start with looking at, your properties that you have. And you can see entire deals this quarter, 1,300. At the top, this is where we've got the summary, data source, measured, dimensions, date range, filters. You can come in and then you can add those filters and, manage that from there. Once you're happy with it, you just simply click save, and that will save to your dashboard. So pretty straightforward. Like I said, that as long as you know what data points you're actually looking at, that will save you, 5 to 10 minutes of creating those reports. But I know, especially when we started, we were taking a longer time to get them done. But, this is an area that you can have a play around with. The other AI section that I just wanted to highlight as well, and I won't go into all the features of Copilot because that might be something that Nat might do at another time, or I might do it another time. It's only a new update to HubSpot. But again, what you can do is you can come into Copilot, which is HubSpot's AI assistant, which is up here now. And I can come down and I can ask it to create me a report here. Or I can go to prompts. And similar to the section we were just in, it's just a quicker way to get into it. There's a reporting section. So fair deals over time. Count options, select that. And then get them to report on it. So you've got this section here that we can play around with as well, which basically allows you to ask questions and to do a range of different things within HubSpot. Alrighty, so that's sort of everything that I wanted to go over today. A real sort of down and dirty of, the HubSpot features of the ability to report within HubSpot, the ability to utilize AI. Like I said, that's really basic. There's obviously the next step up, which is using some of the custom funnel reports. But yeah, I think now we'll take time for some questions. I don't know, Natasha, if you wanted to start with your question that you asked at the start. You just
Mike. Yeah, sure. Yes, I had a chat with my HubSpot account manager recently, and he suggested that we start with some really small segmenting of our list, like 500 or 1,000, to create some new email marketing campaigns. So I've been waiting for Camille to come on board this week to really do that yet. But if there was a easier way to have AI help me with that in HubSpot, like we do have, as you know, lots of properties. So we have cost centers, referrals. So I just find that the filter and the reporting really not easy to kind of use myself because I'm not that great at it. So if there was a shortcut where I could say, give me my last 500 aircon ducted closed lost or aircon ducted completed jobs, for example, that would be a really easy way for us to filter some lists of 500 and then market to them.
I reckon if you type that into Copilot right now, just see what you get.
Well, I actually I've just been locked out of my HubSpot. Anyway, so I can't log in right at this minute, but yeah, I'm sorry about that. We've just moved everything into Bitwarden for our passwords, and it's taken a bit of time to set up the 2-factor everything, and now I've locked myself out this morning somehow. I can't get back in. So I'll work on that after the call, but I'll definitely test it today.
Because one thing I'd add to that, Tash, is looking into saying the priority of the segmentation, as in what is the aim and the outcome, much like when Matt mentioned earlier about running the reports. What is the outcome that you're looking to achieve from that? So if it's the closed lost, I know you use that as an example, identifying potential opportunities that you want to segment first. Now, if you're unsure of how to do that, you can use AI to say, hey, I've got a list of 6,000 people, and you could try this in Copilot to see the results and saying what could be the best option for this outcome that we're looking for. And then that way, when you go into the exploration of segmentation, you've got a bit of a framework to follow yourself rather than thinking, oh shit, all these things are going on, honing in, saying, identifying what is that outcome that you want. And I think that would support the notion of using artificial intelligence to support the segmentation.
Yeah, definitely great advice. We will do that.
Yeah.
In terms of like that, I think probably just what you need is maybe just some more training in like list creation, because all that is fairly straightforward at this stage. Like HubSpot won't automatically, it'll give you the list of people, but it won't automatically create that list for you. Then like quite simply, if you just go into, I can even just quickly. If you
I ran AI before as well. I think you're going to cover what this has told me. So this is great that you're like AI Matt.
Yeah. Well, when you do it, it doesn't create the list for you. I asked the question, but it gave me the list. So it gave me the list of. So I just asked it who are the give me a list of deals won last month. So it gave me that, and then I asked it if it would create a static list. It won't create a static list for me yet. It probably will soon.
Yeah.
At that stage.
So
but what it does do, it tells you how to create it.
So you mean it'll filter it for you, and then No.
You still need to go and create the list yourself.
Yeah, we've got to create the list first, and then we can ask the question, what was my close loss for the last quarter or whatever, and then it'll filter, create the answer, or give me the response, and then we add it to the list.
No, you won't add it to the list. When you so the way the lists work is you set the filters, and then the filters will automatically add people to that list.
Okay. Yeah, I
Two
need more
different types of
training.
lists. Yeah, two different types of lists. We've got an active list and a static list. An active list, and they're both based on filters. So as an example, if we go to active list, one deals, we go next. Similar to when we report, we need to know what object we're reporting on. So let's just say we're going to look at deals. So I selected my deal association, and I want to report on deal property. So I need to click into this. So what I will do is I'll go to set a filter based off closed won. So this is just if it's closed won reason. I know that they're closed won. I can also go date entered closed won or close date. You know, whatever it is for the filter that tracks that you've won them. I'll just go closed won reason because that's there and easy. I'm just going to say it's known. And then I'm going to add in another filter, which will be another deal property for the product. So I'm going to go deal properties, and I'm going to go by product. And then I'll select which product I want. So now I've got a list of all deals. Well, I'll save that list, and I'll have a list of all the deals that we've won for outsourcing. And I can put a time frame on that as well. So the AI component at this stage won't build that list for you. So I reckon, and there probably is a way that could be done with AI, but in HubSpot with like the inbuilt features, as far as I'm aware, it can't.
Yeah, but we can do it. I just have to have a little bit more training on it, I think. Once we know what our goal is for each of those lists, yeah. But that's probably one of the first things we'll start on this month. Well, next month, now that it's almost October.
Yeah, scary. Any other
Okay,
questions?
yeah, that's great. That's really great. I jumped in today because that's our main starting point.
Yeah, well, give us a message if you get stuck with list creation.
Yeah,
Or jump in next fortnight when we go again.
definitely will.
Can show you how it's done.
Will do. Thank you.
Any other questions, or Jenna, if you have anything you want to ask or add? Or...
No, it's all good. I think because I've been working at it for so long, it's all pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah, this one's all pretty straightforward for you, I reckon.
Yeah.
Awesome. Nat, did you have anything you want to highlight or bring up? Or
I think I guess the thing to think about moving forward, if it's of interest, is the curiosity, obviously, around HubSpot and AI and the features that are rapidly showing up in HubSpot. So Dharmesh, the founder or co-founder of HubSpot, has HubSpot agents now. And so down the track, if that's of interest and you want to explore that, I'm diving into that area to explore ones that are being beneficial in comparison to, say, external LLMs, large language models. And so, maybe front of mind if there's anything around the HubSpot AI in particular, to maybe raise it in advance, because of all the different models, I'm leaning into just about all of them. So if you've got questions around the use of that, have a think about that, and I'm happy to dive into it. I'm not going to pretend I know everything, but old mate here loves to help me out. So So that's pretty much it. So if there's anything top of mind for next week that you can think of, just shoot it through, and I'll create a form that can be submitted as well. Whether it's around large language models, AI content creation, AI within HubSpot, whatever that might be, I'm happy to support and mold the sessions around what you would like to solve on the day. That's it from me.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks everyone for a good session. And yeah, we'll chat soon.
Thank you.
Thanks,
That was
guys.
awesome. See ya.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.